Good blessed Tuesday night, November the 9th, 2021. It's about 8:06 p.m. I greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, or your religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter if you're the richest or the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter if you dark-skinned or light-skinned. It doesn't matter whether you like me or anything that I stand for. All I greet you is with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Tonight, what I want to talk about, and I'm gonna talk about some positions in small cities like the one I'm in, Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, which the population is 5,947 people, give or take. 51% of that is blacks. That's according to the 2010 census. The 2020 census, I don't know what it is, but I still think the blacks is majorities because whites was, I believe, 46%. But what I want to talk about something real crucial. And I want all people, especially blacks, but I want all people that stand for what's right to take a look at what I'm saying. In this city here, the police department, chief of police, should be an elected position. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we have an individual by the name of Robert, they call him Bobby Hearns. His uncle, Warren E. Hearns, used to be the governor here in the state of Missouri. May he rest in peace. Warren Hearns' wife, Betty Hearns, which is the chief of police, Robert Bobby Hearns' auntie, she was a state representative. Now, let me tell you something about Bobby Hearns, Robert Hearns. Robert Hearns is an unqualified chief of police here in Charleston, Missouri. He's the chief of police. Also, the title said he's the director of the police department. Also, he's the chief and director of the fire department. And he's unqualified for both of those positions. If you look at things that happen, especially mainly on the west side of town, which is 90% black, you can see it be unfair investigations for things that happen for blacks over here on the west side of town. I just made a recent video, November the 5th, 2021, and I want y'all to take a good look at it. A fire right down the street here. A fire right down the street here. I'm in the 600 block of Vine Street, west on the west side. You see where that car's at? About exactly where that car's at right now, to the right. That'll be to the north. One of the housing projects was on fire. I counted 9 police vehicles, including the chief of police, in a fire truck. My video is 35 minutes on this fire, on this call for a fire in the projects in the 700 block of Vine Street, right down the street from where I'm standing right now from my house. You would see that the chief of police and these individuals that came on the scene, with the exception of one, None of them didn't have any type of fire gear on. The chief had to, at 20 minutes into my video, and the fire had been going longer than that, the chief had to run to his vehicle to go get equipment. We thought he was going to get the equipment out of his truck, but he zoomed off with lights and sirens on to go on the other side of town where they just built a new firehouse, where they just did remodeling of a police department. And I believe the remodeling of the police department was, I think, over $400,000. And I think the new firehouse, without the new fire truck, I think it was about $1 million something. They was trying to get him to build the firehouse on the west side of town, but he didn't want that. He wanted it all close on the end where it's 99% white people downtown, right across from the police department. Now, how is you a director of police and 9 out of 10 times the Missouri State Highway Patrol have to come over here to secure it when there's shootings? They have to do the investigation for the murders. Why is we paying all these taxes for the city when they got a chief of police and the director of the fire department that is unqualified to do this job? This man been in a position as a law enforcement official here in Charleston, Missouri over 30 years. Look at his record. For the 30 years, he sit up in that office and he don't do nothing. You look at all them new vehicles that they done paid for, a new fire truck, and here it is. Out of them 9 individuals, they eventually start putting on fire gear, but I told them in the beginning, I said, there's animals in there. And you can hear when I tell the chief, he ignored, and I know he heard me, because he was just as close as me. It's what a sign that's where it say private property. You can see when he getting on the fire truck acting like he turning on something, but he wasn't. He couldn't even get the fire hydrant open at first. He couldn't even get the right connections on the fire hydrant to hook the hose up. He was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. What is we paying these taxes for? Black folks, what you need to do is, those of y'all that's around here killing each other, shooting each other, those of you grown individuals got these 13 and 14-year-old black children out here shooting at each other that they done grew up together with. What you need to do, we need to get together, even white people too, that stand for what's right. Well, we see this here start happening when you see them running the stop signs like that there. They might getting ready to start shooting again. So let me try to finish my video up. But my point is, y'all, think about, let's get it where these people we can start voting the chief of police in, because this man been in there too long. This man was at a shooting in November of 2011 when a black 34-year-old mentally ill black guy was shot and killed by one of his officers. And he was on the scene, and the chief was a 30-year veteran. If this guy was a threat, the chief would have shot him. The chief claimed he nipped, the guy nipped him with a sword. If he nipped him with a sword, why didn't the chief shoot him? You have a black sergeant that been on the force about 30-something years that was there. Asked the white police that shot the mentally ill guy or told him, you didn't have to do that. But you see, this white guy that killed this mentally ill guy, he's done been promoted, and he's a captain now in East Prairie, Missouri, where some years back before, he shot a 16-year-old, but people keep selling out for money, so they let these people continue to do this here. Not only that, Some of the officers that up under this chief of police, they, instead of a mentally ill guy from Memphis, Tennessee, stumbled in here, told them he was at a truck stop, told them he had some mental illness and he needs some evaluation. Instead of them taking him to the hospital, calling the ambulance, like you would do with a mentally ill guy, this guy committed no crime. 28-year-old black man again. They took him to the Mississippi County Jail, where some of the chief of police officers and some of the sheriff deputies gang-banged this guy, all white, gang-banged this guy. They tased him. You see what I'm saying? They roughed him up. And he died. But they had the medical examiner say that it was some type of anxiety attack. The anxiety attack wouldn't have happened if the chief of police would have trained these police right and not to bring him to the jail because he didn't commit a crime. Is y'all listening to what I'm saying? You see, the people gonna have to start speaking up instead of attacking me all the time when I'm trying to help y'all. You see what I'm saying? Every time y'all attack me, the Klan likes that. People like Bobby Hearns, they like that. When you seen that fire was fighting down there, you seen one black individual down there, and that's the sergeant who been on the force for 30 years, and he wasn't even trained right. He had on he had on his fire equipment, and he had on a helmet with a shield, but the shield was like for coronavirus. You don't go with a shield that's coronavirus shield going into a burning building with black smoke coming out of it. The chief had to run all the way on the other side of town, and he giving this stuff to everybody else. He should have been leading that example. Each one of them cars that showed up, off-duty police walking around like this here with their hands in their pocket. We paying them taxes. You see what I'm saying? The black side of town, the west side of town, we paying taxes, but we paying taxes not for we getting the services. You see, when a fire is on the white side of town, like a couple of years ago when they had the fire on East Main, Marshall Street, right down from the Casey's that closed up, across the street from it, they had the Charleston, Missouri, experienced firefighters that came over there so they could save that building. But you see, we don't get that on the black side of town. That's the second project that been destroyed. A couple other houses been destroyed because you have a chief of police that's the director of the fire department too, that is not trained to even train nobody. Think about that. Let's ask to get this position as a chief of police in Charleston, Missouri, as an elected position. And black folks, you need to get out and vote. You need to get up and speak out if you want the protection. You're getting tired of your children's. You see what I'm saying? Sitting in that detention center when they fighting with a white child or having an argument with a white child in the Charleston R1 school district, the white child goes home and the black child go to the detention center. NAACP, if you standing for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, well, colored people need help down here in Charleston, Missouri on the west side of town. We shouldn't have to file no complaint with y'all. You know why y'all don't care? Because some of y'all live on the all-white side of town, and some of y'all live so back far on the west side of town that you in the back of the woods, and only time you come out, it was when you getting this government grant money. Y'all think about it. An untrained, unprofessional chief of police and chief of a fire department that can't even put out a one apartment in the housing authority. How you gonna put out a house? Can't save 2 animals, 3 animals. How is he gonna save a human being? The door was open. They had to wait till one of the other ones, West, come and put his firefighting equipment on and go in there and try to rescue the dogs. Peace be still.